Thank you for joining me today, just taking time out of your busy week. And I just wanted to be able to give an update 4 years later on what's happening. So let me just first ask you to reintroduce yourselves, tell us where you're from, the agency, and the mission.
Well, I'm Hope Oliphant, and I'm the director at Main Street Marketplace and Meeting Place in China Grove, North Carolina.
And I am Mandy Earnhardt, and I am the Community Engagement Coordinator. So I facilitate our Getting Ahead classes, among other things.
All right, tell us a little bit more about the agency and the mission.
So we were formerly a food pantry, and through the Getting Ahead class, we wanted to help people move out of, chronically having to come for food. And so the Getting Ahead class was a way to do that. And we had an opportunity to really listen to our neighbors and learn from them. And so we were able to create the market that we have today, which is it's a market that operates on like a sliding scale pricing tier system. And so people can shop based on their family size and budget. But everyone can shop in the market. That's the beauty of it. There's a lot of dignity because you don't know who's shopping in which tier. And they have access to healthy, fresh foods. And we partner with local farmers and create jobs for our Getting Ahead graduates.
Amazing. So it's part of your staying ahead.
Yes.
Yes.
So last time you were talking about color tiers. Is that when you talk about what tier they are? Is that how you're
yes, that's
about it?
So every food item in the grocery store has 3 prices on it, and they're color coded. And so when you choose which pricing tier fits your budget, the first time you check out, it links to an MVP card, and you scan it, and it gives you that price. And you can change that at any point, but you only have to do it that first time that you come in to get that price. And so the bottom tier, the lower tier, is somebody that would get EBT, so they can stretch their dollars and make them go further. The middle tier are those people living in the gap where they don't make a living wage, but they don't make enough to, they have less spending power working than, anyway, the gap. So
they don't qualify
Thank
for
you.
government subsidies.
Yes.
And we call them Alice. They're part of the Alice.
Yes.
And then the upper tier are people that are just shopping in regular retail and want to give back. And so they're subsidizing the lower tier.
Okay. And you remind me, you are getting this from local
farmers.
Yeah.
We do have a wholesale provider when we can't get what we need from farmers, but yeah, we partner with local farmers and vendors. We have about 34 farmers currently. And I'm really proud to say in the last 7 months, we generated $50,000 for local farms. So I think that's a pretty
amazing
big deal.
Well, it works like we envisioned it with the Bridges model, where everyone's giving back.
Yeah. The whole ecosystem rather than just, one person you help for a moment. Instead, they're able to work and purchase their own food and also at the same time help their extended community.
Yeah. So you talked a little bit about you are able to give some jobs to graduates. Talk about what those are. What do they look like?
So we have 90% of our market, of our staff, in the market are graduates of our Getting Ahead program. I think last time from your notes, it said like 40%, but 8% now are graduates, and also our Getting Ahead classes are facilitated by previous graduates as well.
And that's a change from 4 years ago. So that's a growth?
Mm-hmm, absolutely.
That's a question. Yes, I thought that was true.
Yes.
Wonderful. Okay. And then are they also working in the garden, the hydroponic garden? Do you still have that?
So no, this year we made the hard decision to close the garden. And if I've learned anything, it's that you listen to your neighbors and you listen to your community. And that is the only thing I think as an organization that we've done that we didn't really ask the neighbors, do you want this garden, this hydroponic garden? We envisioned a market that could be self-sustaining, and that is still our goal. We thought that maybe the hydroponic garden would be something that we could sell at retail price or to restaurants, which we did do for 5 years, and that would generate revenue to subsidize the market. But it clearly wasn't enough. It did provide a job for one of our graduates. He ultimately was able to buy a home and, things like that. So it did a lot of good things. It also brought people to our organization to learn about us. But we made the hard decision to close the hydroponic garden because we found that what our community really wanted were meal kits. So we are now doing healthy meal kits, like on a subscription basis, almost like HelloFresh. And so people are able to buy, a recipe with all the ingredients that they need. They subscribe, and weekly we are delivering those. They're being delivered also to Salisbury, which is a city just down the road from us in our same county, and then as well as the market. And that is kind of our push to generate the revenue that we need to make up the difference in the market.
Okay. But it's not a lose situation. I mean, it was a win-win. And
Right.
then now you've gone on to something new.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Amazing. Yeah. Well, all right. So give me a little update of the last 4 years. How many Getting Ahead graduates? How many classes? And I would love to hear any good stories that you have to share.
Molly's a good story.
So we have, I think, close to 300 graduates now, or maybe 300. We probably need to do
Close
the
to
exact count.
Yeah.
And we have now in Spanish and English, which is great. Very active Spanish Getting Ahead class, and we do it both fall and spring. And what was the other question?
A story? A story.
Or yeah, a story or multiple. Tell
Okay,
us some
I would like
stories. Yeah.
story, and I'd love for you to share about Paul.
Yes. Okay.
So Molly was with me last time 4 years ago when we spoke, and she came and she talked about the impact that we had on her life, and she was even on our impact report as someone that we had impacted. But what I didn't realize is that how much Molly would impact my life, because Molly she had made, I don't know if she had done this at the time, but she moved back in with her parents. She paid off her debt. She became an RN, a registered nurse, and bought her own first home. And so she's doing well with her children. But my sister has struggled with addiction for a long time. And so she had overdosed and had gone to the hospital and was unresponsive. And I didn't know this at the time, but Molly was the one that resuscitated my sister.
Wow.
And so my sister has 3 years clean now, but also the fact that Molly impacted our lives forever. And, I can't help but think that the program played a role in her becoming an RN and ultimately saving my sister's life. So I don't think you get any more real than a story like that. So.
I agree. Totally agree.
And I have a story about a gentleman named Paul who came in one day and just needed food. He thought we were still a food pantry, but we connected him with the market, gave him a gift certificate. He later told me that he had been living in his home for about 2.5 weeks without ever really having a meal. He was just piecing together what he could. He was living in a trailer that had no electricity. He was borrowing electricity from an extension cord to his neighbor's house. And he was a picture of trauma. He had so many health problems, was very isolated from community, and he really just plugged in with us. He took our Getting Ahead class. He's actually taken it a couple of times. He received the stipend once, but he wanted to keep taking it because he was just gaining community from it. He'd been really lonely, and he told me that the more classes he took, the more friends he would have attending his funeral. So he has really gained a support system. But the ACEs class, we incorporate the ACEs and building resilience classes, we call them, into our program. And he benefited a lot from those and really had a lot of aha moments about why his mental health and physical health is the way that it is because of his childhood trauma. And he got plugged into some other programs. We'll talk about the food pharmacy program more, but we really try to become a holistic model. We talk about the 11 resources, and we are really trying to support people in as many of those resources as we can. I think he may have had 3-ish when he joined us, and I feel like now he has at least 8, 9. His numbers are going up. So yeah, he's really gotten plugged in, and I'll share more about the other ways that he has later, but he's a vital member of our community now.
At this point, when you're doing your classes, are you finding that you have wait lists as you're doing the recruitment? Um, how are you recruiting?
We do have a small wait list. Sometimes we find that people who start taking the class realize that other things are intervening and they're not able to continue. So oftentimes, if they are not able to stick with it, they'll say, please let me get my life a little more stable, put me on the list for the next class. But I think the main way that we are recruiting is really just by word of mouth with our participants. The Spanish speaking class especially, they have such a tight, rich community themselves that they're pretty much doing the recruiting for us. And then we also have a community Christmas store every year in December where the community provides new toys for children and families, and parents can come in and shop for new toys for very low cost. And that's a good opportunity to share what we offer to people within our community. And so we also kind of market our classes through that, and just connections with the community and other agencies that we are in partnership with. Our area of growth is in making connections within our community. We've really connected with a women's residential substance abuse treatment center. So they have joined our class this year, and we have had 4 of them, 5, it dropped down to 4 of them who've participated and will soon be graduating. So they've known about what we offer.
And one of the graduates just graduated from Capstone, but then also is going to be working, well, she is working in our market.
Okay. And so then obviously that they're going to go back into their community and talk about what's happened and what they've learned. And
absolutely.
Wonderful. Do you have plans next year to do some more collaboration or partnership with others?
We're actually going to collaborate, hopefully, with Smart Start in Salisbury. So Salisbury for a while has wanted us to come there and do a market or do something like that. And we really feel like we couldn't have created the market without getting ahead, because we had an opportunity to really sit around the table and understand our community. And so we said, the only way we can do something like that in Salisbury is to really know what their community needs. And so we are planning to partner with Smart Start in Salisbury for some of their parents. Also, there's some other people, parents that may participate in the program. And so we're hoping to offer Getting Ahead in Salisbury in the new year.
So Smart Start is a nonprofit organization that receives state funding for like the NC pre-K program and education for like enrichment education for children and parents as well. So they're a local nonprofit that we've built relationships with, and they asked us to come there.
And thank you for defining that. So I thought I kind of knew, but now it's better.
Yeah.
And it's going to kind of be a test ground for, what is it that the community needs there in Salisbury? It may look very different from our market. And so we want to make sure that we're using the tools that we learn in Getting Ahead to help people, move forward, but also to help them to create the resources they need within their own community.
Sure.
And I feel like that organization is such fertile soil for change, because the Getting Ahead curriculum talks about, dollars invested and the outcomes of like federal dollars invested and the ages that it most affects are young children. And so hopefully we'll be able to work with, moms who may be pregnant and carrying children and, just helping them learn some principles for stability. And also preventing ACEs. If we can start with the parents, then they're going to pass that on to the children.
Absolutely. We see it, in my community with our Getting Ahead parents, that their children, it's a trickle down, but it's really helping more than one generation.
That's right.
Yeah. We have to keep learning from each other.
You mentioned housing, so you want to hear about that?
Yes. So in our Getting Ahead class, we recognize class after class, year after year, that housing is a constant challenge for people. And we were able to acquire the house as a residential property that's right next door to our market. And we purchased that. It's a beautiful open home. A lot of sunshine pours into it, and it has 3 bedrooms. And we talk to people every class who need housing but can't afford to live on their own, pay their own rent by themselves. And their utilities. So we've opened that house up to our Getting Ahead participants and graduates, and we call it our cooperative community living environment. And the communication skills and language resources that they share, teach us about, we teach them about, and all work together on conflict resolution, negotiation, parent, child, adult voice. All those things are really beneficial for the folks that are living in the home. So we're excited. It's a small scale effort to affect housing for our Getting Ahead program, but we've had a couple of people who've been able to use that space and continue to use it to share expenses and create a supportive environment.
And they even, we were probably going to share about our food pharmacy program, but they even did our food pharmacy program together and made the meals together, which is really neat too.
Do they have a specific timeline where like they can stay 6 months, or is it kind of open-ended?
Yeah, it is open-ended, but it seems like we've had, a little turnover here and there.
Yes, it's been somewhat transitional. We had a lady who ended up getting married, and she moved out. A gentleman, Paul, who he developed some health needs that he really needed a more assisted living kind of place. So it's met different needs at different times, but it's not necessarily time limited. We're just kind of keeping track of what people's needs are.
And we can have as many as 4 people in the house. Currently, we just have 3, so we have an open room should we need it.
And we actually use the model in the Getting Ahead book that talks about 35% or below, 30 to 35% or below of their income is the most that people should be spending on housing. And so we are keeping it at that.
Perfect.
For them.
So you've mentioned a few times this other program, so I want to leave a little space for you to talk about that.
The food pharmacy program?
Yes, please.
So, and also providing, healthy foods and giving people a way to access it. We want them to know how to prepare and what food does to the body. Again, it's, mind, body, and spirit. And so we have a registered dietitian on staff now, and she has a 6-month cohort and also a 3-month cohort. And so during that 6 months, they have medical assessments before, mid, and after, and that's covered for them. And they get 3 meal kits a week. It feeds 4 to 6 people. It's a lot of food, and it's only $10 per meal. It comes with the ingredient recipe and all the ingredients they need to make a healthy meal. She also does, a lot of nutrition education, chronic disease management classes. They get a blender and a spice kit and measuring tools and everything they need to make these healthy meals. And they also get a membership to the YMCA for 6 months to incorporate that fitness piece. And so if you think about someone that might come into the market for food and then they learn about our Getting Ahead program and they take that, and one of the things they want to work on is getting healthier, and then they can do our food pharmacy program. And so it's really, looking at all the resources, like we said, that someone needs to live a healthy life. And then Mandy has incorporated ACEs not only in Getting Ahead, but also within the food pharmacy program. So I'll share about that.
So many of them are battling a lot of inflammation in their bodies, and their diet often is not helping that. So when they're also learning about ACEs and building resilience, they're also learning, and Susan, who leads that program, is great about teaching them about anti-inflammatory foods and how if they are able to develop more resilience and lower their stress, then it's going to help their inflammation and their health in general. So it's a great marriage of the 2 programs, I feel like.
You guys have done wonderful things in the last few years as you continue to grow. You mentioned maybe 300 graduates. How many do you think you're still in contact with?
Gosh, that's hard.
That's a really hard question.
Yeah.
Well, and it's not unusual. You build resources and people are able to go and to do better.
Yeah.
And you don't often see.
I do see, some of them come to the market. So I do get to see them in the market, or sometimes I'll just see them out in our community. Some have moved away. Unfortunately, several have passed away. And I
Yeah.
think that is because, we talk about ACEs, how it, takes 20 years off your life expectancy. And so I think people from our programs, unfortunately, are passing away at a younger age. But we still have a good number of people that are here. In fact, we have our annual Christmas parade party, and they'll all be coming to sit on the porch and watch the parade together at our house.
That's right. That's right. Some of them are gathering Saturday night. So one of our Getting Ahead participants is now leading a poetry workshop. And she's just learned the value of expressing yourself creatively through the arts. And she's processed a lot of her trauma that way. And so she's shared about that program with our Staying Ahead participants. So it's kind of neat to see how they gather in different ways outside of our program together and stay connected.
Which is what you want. Yeah.
Exactly.
On there. So think about what you're dreaming in the next 24 months. What do you hope it will look like?
If I'm being transparent, I want financial stability in the market. Our goal is to be self-sustaining, and we're not there yet. We are purchasing all of our food now through our sales, but we want to expand our meal kit program so that we can subsidize the payroll and the operations. We do our best to pay a living wage, and so we really want to be able to fund that. So that is one thing. Is that? What else would you add?
One part of that would be to hire more graduates as well and
Yes.
participants of the program, and just help them build their confidence to have a launching pad into whatever their next stage of life is. We're also hoping to share with the Salisbury. It's kind of our hub of our county, about 20 miles away, to be able to share the Getting Ahead program there. And they've had it, and it sort of died out. So we're hoping to rejuvenate that and help other facilitators launch their program there.
We actually have a graduate that facilitated with us this semester, but she's from Salisbury. So we're hoping that she can go there and help launch that initiative, since she's from that community.
Yeah.
I also think ACES has kind of taken on a life of its own. As we've partnered with other agencies and community coalitions, we've been able to share a lot about ACES and increase the interest in that. So like the agency that Hope mentioned, Smart Start Rowan, they're interested in having more of their early childhood professionals learn about ACES and building resilience. So that's what I'm super passionate about, and just hope that that continues to flourish.
Good.
And I am really proud that our Spanish Getting Ahead class is thriving the way it is, and that we have facilitators that have graduated and they are now leading with excellence.
Absolutely.
I would say too. So I'm really, really grateful to see that. That's been a dream of mine, to see that happen. It's not something I can do because I'm not fully fluent in Spanish. And
Right.
so I'm really glad to see that is taking on a life of its own as well.
And we did offer ESL classes here this summer. That was something that the Spanish cohort expressed that they'd really like to have accessible to them. So I hope that will continue and expand as well in the coming years.
Have you been able to offer Bridges workshops in your area?
Yeah, we've only done one this year, I think, just because we're pretty busy. But yes, we try to offer them
Fundraising.
as we can.
Yeah.
'Cause it is important for people to understand the other side to things. I will say, for 10 years we were doing them consistently, and
Right.
so I think a lot of the people in our community have participated in Bridges, and now are trying to take them one step further with thinking about reimagining charity in a different way.
Good. Good. Well, any last thoughts, any last things you'd like to share?
What are we forgetting?
We didn't talk about Farmers Day. I don't know if we want to go into that.
Well, I do think this is not, it is a local policy change, I think, so to speak, in a way.
yeah, that's true.
So we have an annual festival in our town. This is probably really.
It's not just our town.
Yeah,
though.
yeah.
We're in the South, right?
Yes.
Keep that
And
in mind.
so there is a large group of people that there's the Sons of the Confederacy that come to our event, and it has unfortunately really hurt some of our program participants, and they don't feel welcome at our festival. And so through our program, they have built relationships with people in town council, and so they've been able to really share how it made them feel. And so our town has been very creative in finding ways to restructure farmers market, bring it back to what it was originally created for, which is to, have artisans and honor farmers. And so this year, hopefully that will not be a part of this. And this has been many years of wanting to see that happen. And I really believe that it came from our Getting Ahead graduates having the voice and having the relationships and the confidence to share from their perspective, because until you know someone that it affects, it doesn't affect you. And so I'm really proud of that.
Yeah.
I'm proud of our town for the town leaders for doing
Absolutely. It's been a divisive year in our country, and it's been stressful for us to see the divisions here. But we've really been able to help facilitate some open dialogue about it, and it's been really neat to see people be willing to share their voice, risk people not liking it, but advocate for their communities and actually make some headway there.
Good. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you for the stories. Thank you for the creativity and how you're really finding employment for the graduates and also keeping them really engaged on there.
Well, it's our privilege, I would say.
Absolutely. And we're appreciative to AHA Process for sharing the great curriculums with us.
Yeah.